come to the end of the day, and our final keynote is Margus. And I know Margus now a couple of years, and he's been very much in the business area and working with different e-channels, mainly in the banking. So both in SEB and Swedbank in the past, and he quite recently just finished his job as a CIO of Eesti Energia, which is a tough one, because you probably all noticed that we went to the open energy market lately. And now he is a consultant, I understand, right?
Not fully correct. Actually, I'm also a consultant. I'm leading different projects for different clients. Yeah. It's not so much a consultancy, but management.
Okay. So he always told me that, I don't really like these IT people. It's like too far off from my comfort zone. So he wants to go back to business. But I think it's really good to get some external perspective and to get some view from the business side to testing. And I think the title speaks for itself, buying an acronym for a huge amount of money. So what kind of acronyms he's been buying? We'll hear. Margus.
Thank you. I just have to quickly clarify that I don't hate IT people. As I have been also the past 15 years, I've been mostly an orderer from the IT side, and the last year I was a CIO. Then I would say that now I understand both parties. I understand both how business works, and I understand at the same time how IT works. The last year was especially bad because initially I was complaining that IT doesn't deliver, and then Sander Liive just told me that take the other part as well, and now I have to deliver the thing that I was complaining about. My background, just very shortly, I've been basically a translator between IT and business. This is what I do. I am what you could consider a business development person. It means that business and IT usually don't get along very well, or they really hate each other because they are speaking about different languages, they are speaking about using different acronyms, they really just don't understand. And then there is persons like me, business development people, who have to both understand the business and IT development in order to make them both understand each other. I'm mostly developing the mass customer service systems. I've done Swedbank's internet bank, I've done SEB's internet bank, I've done Estonian Energia's self-service system. Right now I'm working on several large projects for government, for parliament, for different large companies who are just developing the internet self-service systems. This is where I really feel the most comfortable. I've been head of e-channel, head of business unit, head of business technology, CIO, pretty much covered the whole area as a whole thing. And the projects were already named. Where did the name or the title of the presentation come from? Actually, I found a very good sentence. Robert Gates, former US Defense Secretary, just looked at the project that they had spent just $500 million, and it just didn't work. So the only thing that they bought was actually unpronounceable acronym, this 6 letters there. Nobody understood what it is. It didn't work. It didn't deliver any kind of value to the business, to the people, to anybody. The same situation, I believe that whatever company you are taking, the same situation actually happens in every company. In Estonia, in Estonian Energy, we had MDM and CIS and all that kind of cool names. All of those people coming from that company understand. But you always are just talking about the names, but you rarely think about is the thing that we finally achieved, is it also usable for the business? Is it creating any kind of value? In half cases, yes, it does. In half cases, actually it doesn't. Couple of examples that I found. Down there is the web address. There is a list of catastrophes, different cases that have really gone bad. The amounts, the project descriptions, everything. I really suggest you go there and just read. They are really interesting reading. US Air Force, $1 billion just went down the drain. What they did, they wanted to do, US Air Force has hundreds of thousands of employees or soldiers or however you could call them. They are all over the world, the missions are everywhere. So that it means that there are plenty of logistics, plenty of different difficult things happening around the world. You have to deliver a lot of goods into the other places around the world very fast, at the right time, etc. They had hundreds of different systems, and instead of that hundreds, nobody understood how they are mixed up together. They wanted to create one very powerful, very capable system. 3 years of planning, 3 years of different complaints from the partners who started to develop the system. Then they researched the topic approximately 5 years. They had spent already $1 million, and what they got? They are just got an understanding that the whole project takes approximately 8 years to deliver, and it takes at least $1 billion additional in order to just deliver 25% of the initial scope. So, total waste of money. $1 billion to understand that this project is not doable. Nine Capital. Maybe some of you have heard about this thing before. Nine Capital, basically, just short to describe, this is a stock market company. Their responsibility is to match different parties together, buyers and sellers, and give the best price. They had a software glitch that they called a glitch. They really rushed the deadline. They had to go live on the 1st of August with a couple of new additional things. And when they switched on new system on the 1st of August, then the system matched things together in the wrong way. What happened? Basically, they created $440 million of damage to the customers in 30 minutes. Just in 30 minutes. Then this program was switched off again. What was the problem? Not enough testing was involved in this project. 440 million, just to put it into the correct scale, it is this company's 3 years worth of not profit, but revenue. So basically, the company went bankrupt in just 10 minutes, and the next 20 minutes it was already completely bankrupt already. Just a small thing that brings people down. Mortgages, as you see, they are all last year's things. There are plenty of things from the past, plenty of things from the current year as well. $6 billion. What happened? This company, those are the companies that really affect the market. Whatever kind of transactions they are doing on the equity market, on different markets, they really affect the whole world, basically. The prices of the goods really depend on those people doing deals. How they do the deals? They actually had a very complex set of Excel spreadsheets. Those Excel spreadsheets that they used to give advice, they were not built up properly, just somebody starts to build something in Excel, then there is coming another spreadsheet, then the data is coming in from the external source, etc. The best of all, they just copy-pasted the data from one Excel sheet to the other, because they had no actual mechanism to do it automatically. And of course, it happened that there was a slight mistake in a couple of formulas and a couple of copy-pastes just went wrong. And the Excel just gave bad advice. Approximate damage for the company, $6 billion. again, a little bit testing and a little bit good development would be handy. And US Army, $5 billion US, it was also 2012. What they did wrong, actually, they created such thing as a universal camouflage clothing, basically, so that the clothes that all the US Army military personnel is using, it's really invisible, so that you don't see very well. They should merge together with all the terrain that is around them. But the problem in this project, basically, was that top management just thought that we cannot create just uniforms. We have to have uniforms that are cooler than those that US Marines are using. The result was actually that the camouflage uniforms, they were much better visible than the previous ones. Whenever you went out, whatever kind of terrain, then the soldiers really stood out from the terrain. So, $5 billion US, plenty of years, and again, downtrending. As you see, there are plenty of different reasons why things go wrong. It can be a very simple Excel spreadsheet. It can be something where you make some kind of stupid decisions. Everything goes wrong. So how bad is it? Approximately 17% of large projects that go wrong, they go wrong so badly that they threaten the existence of the companies. Half of the projects are over budget, 7% over time, and actually those projects create 56% of less value than they initially are planned. So you're going over budget and you create only half of the value that the whole thing should have achieved. It was a really surprising number for me. I hope that in my projects it was a little bit opposite way, but 75% of project participants actually don't believe that the project will be successful. This is a really bad number, actually. And 78% of people think that business is out of sync with project requirements. The things that the project actually has to deliver, it has very little to do with actual company needs. They are huge numbers. I would say that if it were 7%, then it's already bad. But 78, it means that vast majority of the projects actually don't deliver the things that they really are intended to. And half of the projects are poorly planned, poorly performing, or both. It's already the current situation. And it's also researched that best organizations are actually 10 times more successful in delivering the projects than the worst organizations. The difference is quite huge. What to blame? Who is the reason? I know that actually the testing people are mostly doing things wrong, but I just bring up 5 key areas here, and I'm covering them a little bit more in detail. First of all, low vision and scope, so that the things actually go bad already in the very beginning. Then everything that concerns top management and governance, my favorite topic. I can talk about that for a long time. But from my own perspective, I would say that half of the projects just go wrong because the top management is making stupid decisions. Third one, team and engagement, really critical issue. But they can be pretty much going wrong there as well. Plan, following the plan. And of course, quality and testing that gets additional, all the rest, 97% of the way. Goal, vision, and scope. First of all, as I already mentioned, company strategy versus project goals, they are quite often quite different. I would say that the projects, initially, they are starting out from the company strategy. But it takes only a couple of months and a couple of project managers switching in and out. And actually, you reach to the point where the project goals are something completely different than the company needs. this is the 78% that actually are not working towards the company strategy. And where is this coming from? I would say that quite often those projects they're coming from, we need this thing. You know, some guy from the top management or the product development or just went to the conference, found something really interesting. It was a good selling material or good party after the conference where they were just sold something. They're coming, in the worst case scenario, coming with a CD. I bought this program, let's have it. Instead of thinking, what is the actual problem that we are solving? And this is the case that you really have to ask from time to time during the project. Basically every month you have to ask yourself, am I still doing the same project that was initially planned, or has it already turned to something totally different? So we just, when you want to do a successful project, then think about always what is the problem you are actually solving, and don't think about the means or don't think about actual software you are already using. This is the wrong way, and then the project starts to live their own life. I know that's really pain in the ass just to go out there and say, no, we are not getting everything in the world. We are not going to fix the world. We are just fixing this one damn problem. I know it's hard, especially when you are looking with somebody who is much higher ranked than you are. But in order to make a project successful, you never can take additional stuff into the project that you yourself really don't believe that you can deliver. So that overscoping and this expectations management is really, really important. What I mean expectations management, if somebody says to you, is this project going to do that, and then of course fry me an egg as well, then quite often people say, yeah, of course it can do. They know already in the beginning it can do, but they are just bad in saying no. And this is the case. You have to, in order to avoid overscoping, you just have to very strongly put power into the expectations management. How to do that? Of course, you need powerful allies. It means that if you are alone on the field, you just have to find somebody who is capable on delivering the ideas to the management that that kind of stuff can't be done. I'm really sorry about those project managers who are just sitting alone in the company, looking at the project, looking at the description, looking at the time frame that they are given and the money they are not given, and then just thinking, what the hell I'm going to do with that? This is not going to be a successful thing. Understanding the impact. Quite often people think, I just bring an example of this Estonian Energia's information system change, basically. Initially it was thought that it's, just a couple of programs in a couple of servers and then it's just working. But the whole thing had a total impact on the company's sales, client, customer management, customer support, to the products, to communication, marketing, to everything. You have to make very clear what will be the actual impact of the project. And very rarely, I would say really rarely, people estimate the actual impact correctly. Quite often they are just thinking that it's easy, it doesn't affect much, but everything that relates to the customers, especially to the mass customers, then you have to consider that what can go wrong most probably goes wrong, so that the impact is quite huge. Why I'm saying that, as I have been developing the internet banks, then I would say that the actual IT and product development work behind developing an internet bank is only approximately a quarter of the whole work. Another 3/4 is actually change of products, change of marketing, change of communication, change in how you sell things. Everything that concerns the business, this is what actually changes. And the IT project is just a small amount of total work. Of course, people usually think the other way. So what does it all need? I would say that common understanding, it takes tons of communication. One thing that the IT, for example, really needs in order to deliver the projects well, they need very good person who is able to communicate what they do, how they do, keep everybody well informed for the whole project's lifetime. So this is what you probably have to do. Whoever is responsible for some kind of project, go out there and hire a very good communication manager who is helping you to put together the whole plan. It's much cheaper than solving problems later with clients. One large problem, of course, projects have conflicting goals. If you know that one team in the company is dealing with a project that is delivering something totally opposite that you are doing, then it's probably good to say it already in the beginning. Otherwise, whoever is fastest will get the project live, and the other party is the one who is just thinking, what the hell I'm doing here. Top management. As I said, it's my favorite topic. What is one of the key things here? Quite often that you really can't let people do. People try to avoid making decisions as much as possible. Even those people who are just hired to make decisions. So the first thing, you are usually not given enough money. You don't have the well-defined scope, and you don't usually have enough power or authorization to do some kind of things. When you are responsible for the project and you don't have the scope, or nobody has said that the scope is such, you are saying that you are producing apple, they are thinking that they are getting 3 apples and 4 oranges. If you don't have the money, if you don't have necessary power to make decisions on your own, then you are in a pretty bad situation. And usually the projects go wrong here right there. Usually, nobody wants to be a project owner. When it's a complicated project, when it's an IT project, when they are speaking about those technical stuff again, and nobody understands really around the table, they're just thinking where to go to the coffee, or they are thinking about that they have already had this meeting for 3 hours, and they would like to just go home or to a nice restaurant. Then if you are going with the IT talk there, nothing would happen. So nobody wants to be an owner, but you have to find one. If you don't find one, then take this ownership to yourself, but say it to the management very clearly. What I usually do, also in the current projects, is that in the beginning, I used to ask, we would like to do this way, this is the best thing, or we could do the other way as well. It has these benefits and these negative impacts as well. And usually nobody answered anything. What I do now is that I'm going to do this, this, and this, unless you are answering me in 3 days. It means that they can just sit back and not to take any decisions if they don't like to. But at the same time, with this letter, if they don't react in any way, then in 3 days I will do something that I do what I think is the right way. And the result is that they have given me authorization with their own silence. And it works the same way. Basically, they have to decide. If they don't decide anything, then it's also a decision. And it works remarkably well. Usually, after such letter, in 3 days, all the necessary emails are coming back. Wrong level of oversight. It's usually 2 possibilities. It's either micromanagement, that the top management really goes very deeply into the project and tries to say everything about how the project should be delivered. This US Army, good example for me, is a top management that just says that we have to be cooler than US Marines, and it just doesn't work out that way. And the other possibility is that nobody cares about the project. So you are just floating around here or there. Actually, the project manager really needs top management to supervise their own project. Because you will have plenty of questions, you will have plenty of problems, you will need a lot of attention from the other teams. And if you don't have this top management attention, then you are not getting the help or the resources or the money of those other units that are also needed for your project. So go there and demand project steering meeting. That you want to be in the board once per month, at least to give an overview, so that they can't say in the end that they knew nothing about the whole thing. Of course, management likes to push a lot of things at the same time. This is what you have to fight against. And they usually also say that we don't have the money that you are asking, but we still need the thing that you are proposing. So could you just start up with something smaller that doesn't require a lot of money? It's usually also a bad way. Just because, as you know, the scope is just growing quite rapidly. If you are asked to do the project, then after 2 years, you know that your project will be huge. The amount of money will still be the same. Never let the management or whoever is outsider for your project define the deadlines and project plans. If they don't like the deadline, they are saying that it should be 6 months earlier or a whole year earlier, then you go back and you come back with additional plan. It's usually doable, so that if it has to be 6 months earlier, then I would answer that it's extra 2 million euros, and it can be done. And it's then their decision. But it can't be this way, that you are sitting on the boardroom and they are saying to you that, okay, very good, let's do the project. The amount of money is settled, it's fine, but deliver it in 6 months less. You can't do that. The only thing that you can do, just go out, say that you are returning in a week and delivering the new plan. And of course the worst thing, and the last thing here, politics, which was also talked here before, and management personal agendas. There's actually nothing much to do about that. If somebody wants to do cool clothing, or they really, for example, in the board hate each other, and you are in the middle of that, then my suggestion is just to find some new job. As I did. Team and engagement. Team and its culture really defines success. It actually, everything that you do, it depends on your team. I would say that I'm really lucky. When I was in Eesti Energia and also in Swedbank before, I always had the opportunity to put together my own team. I usually start out with practically no people, and it was just growing as I was needed to do. So choosing your own people, choosing those people that you really can trust, that you really believe in, and that you can send them out there to do whatever is needed, then this is really crucial for you. Otherwise, you will be dealing with those people's demotivation, and they don't care about the project, they actually would like to be somewhere else. And this is not going to be a successful project. So that everybody who you think that is not perfect for you, just let them go and hire somebody else instead. You have to have the powers, the authorization like that. If you can't choose your own team, if you don't have that kind of possibility, then it's not worth starting the project at all. And everybody has to be on board, everybody, really everybody, because when the worst thing that actually is when you are delivering a very large project, you have 3 types of complainers around you. Of course, customers. There is always 10% of the customers who don't like the change. It doesn't matter which kind of change. If I deliver a new internet bank, there is always 10% of the customers who are complaining. How good work you do, it doesn't matter. The other type of the complainers are different units from the same company. And third type is the complainers from your own team. And the worst thing here, you can quite easily ignore the customers. You have to. You can quite easily ignore the comments that are coming from the other units as well. But the hardest for everybody is when the fighting is internally inside the team. So the team and its culture really defines the success. If you are spending 90% of your time on fighting instead of delivering, then the project will always go wrong. About the money, two things. Strong project manager is worth every penny. I'll just bring you an example. Which one is cheaper? 10 million euro project that you are paying to the project management, for example, 1 million euro to deliver the thing, or 20 million euros project that you are paying to the management 50,000. Which one is cheaper? It may sound that, of course, when you are paying less to the project management, then it's cheaper, but actually good people are delivering the same project with half of the cost. It's quite usually that way. So what I see in very many large companies is that they are hiring to run the projects the people who are just chosen based on cheapest offer. It's like those government tenders, as you know. Everybody who has participated in government tenders probably knows that the things that they deliver based on lowest cost available, then it usually doesn't deliver the things that the government actually needs. So what I also have found out is that experience and quality is much, much cheaper than cheap things. I had a situation where I paid to developers, one group of developers, twice, the rate was twice as high as all the rest of the teams in the house. But actual bill that those people gave us in the end of the month was approximately 30% lower. Why? Because those developers just made their own job approximately 3 times faster than the other group, because they knew what they were doing. So this is the thing what I'm willing to pay for in every project. I'm paying for experience, I'm paying for the quality, because I know that, first of all, the monthly bill will be lower, but in the end, the number of customer complaints, the number of problems that we are facing publicly, the number of things that are coming to us, delayed projects, everything else, that kind of part is mostly missing. And this is where the real cost is. Internal communication, also inside your own team, it requires a lot of attention. And motivational system, it has to be in place. When you have the project, and you know that the project is going to be ending in 4 months, for example, then, and all of those people in your team who are really dedicated, they really want to deliver, but they know at the same time that they are out of work in 4 months, then you have to find a way how to motivate those people during all of those months. So that they know when they are leaving, they are getting a very good bonus because they were in this project until the end. If you don't have this situation, then what happens is that approximately 2 months before the project starts to end, all of the best people are going. They are going away to some kind of other things, other new projects. And this is really bad. Tensions and demotivation inside the project team has to be solved very fast. This has to be a manager's top priority of all the time. And I really would like to see that kind of attitude be gone. I said this once months ago, you know, when we were just drinking coffee there in the kitchen. Why it's not done? That kind of attitude has to go away from any kind of a company. Most probably you have heard this sentence from somebody who is saying to you that I told you so already a lot of time ago. What have you done so far? Nobody understood that it's actually a business requirement. And of course, when people, especially very good people, who know everything, how the thing works, daily life works, they are also put into projects. But you have to choose. As a manager, if you have to choose, is it the daily work that they are delivering, or is it the project that they are delivering? They can't do both at the same time. As I mentioned already before, control the scope. Overscoping in the beginning is dangerous, and letting the scope of the control in the duration of the project is also very, very bad. Because it causes you delays, a lot of going over the budget. People are just overburdened with everything that is coming in. So the second one is also control the scope, and the third one as well. So this is, when you are planning something, this is the utmost important thing. It is the most critical thing that you have to ever consider. Otherwise, the whole thing will go over the plan. At the same time, I'm not actually a lot of this kind of metrics guy, or I'm not a planner type. I usually plan, I know that there's some kind of vision in my head and somebody is also putting it onto the paper, but I don't care much about planning, because I think actually that the plan changes and it shouldn't be wasted a lot of time on detailed planning. Why it's necessary to plan ahead, for example, 6 months when you actually don't know what is happening in 2 weeks? How can you make a normal planning? You have some kind of deadlines, some kind of basic principles in place, and that's enough. Everything, the rest, you can just reorganize just quite quickly when it's necessary. So don't waste time on detailed planning. And I really hate Microsoft project. All of those project management softwares, I don't know who invented them, but I remember one situation where the project plan was something 3,000 rows or something. Nobody had a control of this project. When you ask what are the key things that you are going to do in the next 2 weeks, then they scratched their head and just said approximately 200 things from here. But what you really need in order to communicate with the team correctly, you have to say, priority number 1 is this, number 2 is this, and we are most probably doing also number 3. The rest, all details, they are not important for the whole project management. They are, of course, important for those specific people, but otherwise, well, maybe it's me, but as I said, I'm running the projects in my head. There are a couple of deadlines in place. I believe that in general, for example, free market project in Estonian Energy, in my own planning was approximately 8 deadlines, 8 rows, and that's it. It was approximately 120 projects. There were approximately 150 people working for a whole year on this project. And for me, it was 8 rows. I knew very well that a lot of people who were handling their own things, they were making more detailed planning. But you have to understand just the basic principles, who has to do and what and when. Those kind of things you cannot put into the detailed plan. Usually Microsoft project is running the projects, I would say, and project manager is just a slave of the project management software that somebody ordered him to use, and he's just fighting against it as much as possible. So for me, what is more important? I don't care about weekly reports. I usually don't do that. It's not my way of running things. But for me, it's much more important that people are honest and I can trust them. If I'm going to ask, for example, Maile, who has been responsible for the testing in my project for the last 3 years, approximately, for me it's much more important to understand that if I'm asking her, what are those 3 most important problems we are facing, then I know that she says all the things correctly, as bad news as they are, it doesn't matter, but she's willing to say them, she's saying them at the right time, she's not hiding something in order to make a happier face. So for me, it's much more important to understand if those projects are in good shape, if I understand the key problems, and it doesn't matter the project management software or the weekly reports from me. I always try to adapt to the current situation. The situation always changes, so that you never can anticipate all of the problems that you are going to face. So you just have to come to work in the morning and you know that there will be You know that there will be a lot of problems during that day, but you usually never know what they are going to be. So again, planning the unplannable problems that you are going to face is basically impossible. When we changed in Estonian Energy, it was more like a crisis project when 2 years ago we changed the information systems, all the information systems. We went live with 6 systems at the same time and it created a lot of problems. In one day, those A category problems for us were those problems that are really stopping the company. We knew that in the morning there will be plenty of problems. We never knew which kind of them. On the worst day, it was probably 6th of June, 2 years ago. No, wow, it's almost 2 years now. We had 7 A category problems. We didn't even count the B and C category things because they didn't care. We were not able to bill clients at that day, for example. And this was a major problem. And that kind of information I really need. I really need to know that if they are saying that we have a problem, then we really have a problem, and at the same time I'm trying to adapt to the problems as much as possible. It's impossible to plan ahead. It's impossible to do. One thing that I always have those A teams, or however I call them, but those people I can send to wherever it's needed. Those are not the people who are asking when you're going to hire them. They are not asking the job description. They don't have those. The only job description is that they are sent to wherever it's needed. And they are going to do that. You can trust them, you know what they do, what they are capable of. Those kind of people are always important when you are doing the project. Don't expect the world around you to stay the same. It was almost covered before. People quite often want to try already to begin with something. They want to run somewhere. Why we are just thinking about the whole picture, or why we are communicating with steward with something. Running in the wrong direction is a little bit worse than just starting slowly, moving in the right direction. And just I also explained the last sentence here. Order projects instead of priorities. I don't do priorities. Priority 1, priority 2, you know how it happens. 80% of things are priority 1, 20% is priority 2, and priority 3 is never happening. The only thing I do is order of projects. Order of projects, it means that you always know when there is a developer or tester or analyst or whoever is going to ask you, should I do this project or this project? Then they are not both priority ones. One is in the sequence number 5, the other is number 7. You are dealing with number 5 because it has higher rank. That is really important. But usually the management does, not only the top management, but the project management, they hate decisions, as you probably know. When they are asked, which one should I do, then they usually answer that both are priority number 1. Deal with both. And then the poor developer just goes back to the table and thinks that, which one should I do? Nobody answered me because they said that both are priority number 1. And then comes the light, because this one project leader is coming with chocolate, sitting on your table, you are eating chocolate, and then you know that you are dealing with this past problems because he came with the chocolate. So, if you, as a project manager or management, or whoever you are, if you are not making a decision which kind of project all of those people should do in which order, then all of those hundreds of people have to do the same decision instead of you. And if you are thinking that you have 100 people in the project, then they are most probably doing prioritization in approximately 100 different ways. So if you want to handle things correctly, better say out your own plan, your own prioritization, your own sequence, then you have the things going the right way. Am I over time? No?
It's okay.
Right, the last piece. I have not much to complain. User. As I said, projects tend to start to live their own life. And one thing that I usually, what is really missing in those projects, after a year or year and a half tough job has been already a lot of time, then nobody actually remembers anymore why the project was started, and nobody actually anymore remembers that the user is actually the thing why we are doing the whole project. For me, it's actually more simple. As I'm doing the mass customer systems like internet bank, then I always have to know that there are all of those Estonian people out there who are going to hate me and or complain in Delphi about not doing the things in the right way. So this is, I know that I will face a lot of criticism if I forgot the users. In the internal systems like CRM, CRPs, whatever you are developing in the company, then in those cases it's quite often good to forget who we are dealing with. But this has to be actually the most important thing. So that in the development, in analysis, in testing, you always know for who you are doing the whole thing. The large problem here is that quality is viewed quite often as a testing only, and it's considered as the responsibility of QA team, not the let's say, not a shared responsibility among the organization. So that I remember also in Estonian Energy, I know that Mai had also plenty of problems explaining why the testing and the quality of code is actually the problems of developers as well, not only the problem, not only her. Testing is usually planned as a minor activity. I've seen the test plans. It was luckily not those companies I worked with, but in the previous project, it was approximately 1 year long project. A lot of development, a lot of analysis, a lot of everything, and testing was 5 days. Of course, it happened that they were not able to test in 5 days. Very bad testers. They were not able to do it in 5 days, and therefore the whole project was delayed approximately 2 months. Of course, who delayed? There is no question about it. The testers were not able to deliver it in the time they were planning, and that is where the complaint went. But basically, it is the problem usually. The whole thing, if I think about the project plans, they are meant to be so perfect, the code is so perfect that you are just running through those, you are not finding any kind of mistakes, and then it's the only possibility when you are putting the whole thing into the very tight timeline that you are originally planning. So this is what usually goes wrong. And reviews of documents and design papers, they usually focus on spelling and grammar. Quite usual situation as well. People are getting some kind of, people are getting some kind of document that is 30 pages long. It's Friday night, they really don't care about that. They make some kind of quick adjustments there, that they find some kind of mistakes. Everybody sees that they have redlined document, they have, gone through that. Oh, I found a comma missing here, and there is a letter missing there. Instead of really digging deep into the document in order to understand that it's important to do it correctly. And of course, our part is working attitude. It's also the thing that you have probably heard before. It's quite often the situation that everybody has done the work perfectly. Everybody is reporting that everything is working, but if you just put those things together, then something is missing. Somehow the customer contact is not reaching the database it was meant to. So incremental integration instead of delivering all the parts from the different places and trying to put them together all at the same time. Couple of things to summarize. First of all, project management is more psychology than science. I think that you can be a good project leader when you understand the people who are working for you, when you understand what are the motivational issues, when you understand how the organization works, how people communicate, how the whole thing from the human perspective is coming together. When you are taking projects as a science, budget, people coming, that kind of stuff, of course you can deliver as well, but I'm not able to. So that I'm just saying that for me, project management is more psychology, because I have to understand the people, how they work, why they would like to work for me or for that project, and this makes actually the project more successful. The other thing, belief and trust. You have to believe that the project goes well. I have done plenty of those things that people are always saying to me that it's impossible to do. I know at least 4 different projects that they are always saying it's impossible to do. When I'm finishing the project, then it was possible to do. So instead of those 75% of the people who believe that it will not succeed, you have to have approximately 90% of those people in your team who believe you will succeed. The rest of the 10%, they can be just not negative, but neutral on that matter. But you really have to convince everybody around you that it can be done. And of course, trust. I was covering the trust topic here quite extensively. For me, it's impossible to do projects without it. Talk, explain, talk again, communicate, and talk once more. This is the major thing that actually goes wrong in IT projects. Sorry to say that, but usually IT people are not very good in communication. I understand. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But just usually, I would say that the average project and the communication that is put into that, internal communication and external communication, it has to be 10 times more communication than it usually is. You are underestimating the value, the need of the communication. You are always due. I can already say that. I personally always also underestimate that. But I have learned from hard cases that you have to make the communication much better than it usually is. Don't let anybody to avoid decision making. Is it top management? Is it the project management? Is it some kind of stakeholder that has to say you what kind of product or what kind of service they want? Is it the salespeople? Is it marketing? Whoever is the orderer of you, whoever you are delivering the project to, they have to make the decisions. It can't be etc. all the time in the project description, but we would like to have this, etc. What does this etc. mean? That kind of things, somebody has to think it through and say what it's going to be. Otherwise, you will be sitting in the situation where no decisions are made, nobody understands how it works. So don't let anybody to avoid decision making. Be a pain in the ass to everybody. They are going to hate you. I know they are going to hate you. A lot of people hate me as well, but it's fine. Actually, the only thing that you do, you are delivering the project. It doesn't matter if they hate you. If they hate you, then you are just leaving the company after you have delivered that, but your track record is good, and that is important. And just to emphasize this sentence again, everything can be done, especially impossible things. Don't let anybody to say you otherwise. It's just the thing that you always have to keep in mind. So just going through those things and acting the correct way, and no problem at all. Thank you.